viewers, welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Got a great elite mod game for you tonight. Some one-on-one action here on the ancient overgrown ruins of Green Tooth Gorge. Let's take a look at our players. A couple very skilled players tonight. Mr. Kaldoot as the Eldar Warlock on the blue side. Kaldoot, a very adept Eldar player. I've been playing against this guy for ages, and I'm pretty sure he beats me more often than not. And then we have the infamous Mr. Texaneous running the commando knob on this side of the map. Been a while since I've seen some good commando knob, and I'm looking forward to it because Tex always brings the fun orc plays. Normally bring in some more eclectic builds onto the field that we don't normally see, so we'll have to see how this plays out. Warlock versus the commando knob. We're going to have to see if Kaldoot chooses to go for Rangers upon spotting that commando knob, as that's their only real form of detection, and the commando knob can be very dangerous if you let him run around without any sort of check on the field to keep his stealth boys and, of course, himself off the field. And oh, look at this. I am excited. I am excited. Look, Tex going for triple Sluggas. You know how much I love Slugga play. And Tex is bringing it for us once again today. Commando knob heading into the center of the field. Kaldoot with just his Banshees on the field. I think actually the Warlock probably going to be one of the better suited heroes for dealing with Sluggamasses here. Of course, the Warboss isn't on the field, so we're not going to be seeing the usual kind of global spam that we see from him. Normally we see use your Sluggas, or sorry, use your Choppas and Odd Boys backing up those Slugga Boy squads throughout the game, really making it a lot easier for them to win those melee engagements. So Tex taking the VPs, a couple pairs of Sluggas sitting over here getting ready to engage this Warlock, but you got to be careful engaging heroes even when you have a bunch of melee, because the Warlock's just going to get a special attack and do massive damage to any of your squads here. Slugga's deciding they're not going to engage. In the meantime, Banshee's forcing off one of the Slugga Boy squads. Commando knob trying to get a kill on those Guardians, but not quite doing it. That twin link custom shooter he's got there doing excellent damage to these squishy Eldar infantry squads. 100% accuracy even when he's on the move. Warlock chopping up some Sluggas. And look at that special attack, knocking orcs all over the place. Tex being brazen with his triple Slugga build. Doing a good job of holding maps so far. Not really engaging too heavily anywhere. Doing a good job of picking his battles here so far, though. Dropping a point-blank smite. That Warlock's going to be in a lot of trouble, though. He's got to retreat right through the commando knob, and another squad of Sluggas. He's not getting out of there in one piece. And down he goes. An early loss for Kaldoot. Kaldoot does have a shuriken weapons team onto the field, and Tex now bringing some Ludas out. I know a lot of people have sort of a tepid view of Ludas. Never really see them used much in competitive play, but they have received quite a reasonable damage boost here in the elite mod, so they're actually quite formidable. They're going to do some crazy burst damage, not as quick to suppress, but of course they can stealth and catch your opponent off guard here. And oh man, we're already seeing hide the boys happening here. Of course, even though we don't have use your Choppas and the Hod Boys, hide the boys is just as dangerous. We see these Sluggas trying to find a sneaky way to get in and around the shuriken platform. Of course, it's going to be tricky considering those Banshees are there. Shurikens on the move, Banshees rolling out. Sluggas sneaking. They're sneaking. You can see Kaldoot knows they're around, keeping the Banshees between wherever they might be. Sluggas pushing in. We've got all three squads moving in here. Banshee's going to be in a lot of trouble. Sneaky squad coming in, engaging the shuriken before it gets set up. Perfect play by Tex coming in from three angles right there. Banshee's not sure what they're going to attack, but they're going to need to get out of there. They are greatly outnumbered. They're trying to protect the shuriken. Taking several hits on retreat right there. They might actually go down. Slugga's chasing them down. And it looks like they're going to retreat. Luckily, Eldar quick enough to get out of there. They might snag another kill on that Guardian's weapons team, but not quite pulling it off. And man, Sluggas everywhere, and it's just gonna get messy as the game goes on. Sluggas chopping up the power farm here. Second shuriken cannon coming onto the field for Kaldoot. Really gonna try to control this melee blob. I think he may have wanted to go for Rangers instead of the second shuriken, just so he can keep an eye on those stealth Sluggas and whittle them away and kite around a little bit. And of course that gives him the hollow field, which will really force Tex to consider getting some detection of his own. In the meantime, double Ludas on the field. One squad here, both overlooking the center. Commando Knob sitting vanilla right now. Tex sitting with a full power farm after decimating the farm of Kaldoot. Kaldoot getting his one shuriken up there, but taking fire from double Ludas. Second shuriken's trying to get in position, but the Commando Knob stealth back there. Meanwhile, Banshees are flanking around with some Guardians to engage the first Luda boy. It needs to get out of there before it takes any more melee damage. Ludas are actually pretty tough. They have quite a few HP per model. They have more HP than a Guardian weapons team and fewer members, so they can actually take quite a beating before they go down. Kaldoot down by about 130 VPs right now. Not looking too good for the start. Kaldoot losing his hero and then losing his gen farm as well to Texas triple Slugga mass here. I like melee style play, but it's always such a risk in this game because you have to invest so heavily in every engagement. And if one thing goes wrong, then you're probably going to lose yourself a melee squad, especially when you're talking about these tier 1 Slugga squads and things like that. Some excellent harass going on here by Tex. Tex constantly staying stealth, constantly pushing and prodding at the Eldar infantry, keeping these two squads low HP as possible. Wants to keep those Banshees from being full health in any of these engagements, really, to give his Sluggas the edge. Again, Sluggas sneaking in here. Two shurikens on the field. He has spotted both of them, though, and that's not good for Kaldoot. Tex is heading into tier 2 right now. Kaldoot's a good deal behind. Oh, and one of the hidden Sluggas there got tagged by the Warlock's detection. Kaldoot might actually be paying attention and know that those Sluggas are back there now. It looks like the Banshees are on the hunt, but that shuriken needs to get out of there. Sluggas moving in to finish it off. Are they going to get the hit? I don't think they are. Might get a single swing or two, but it's going to escape. And now the Sluggers are in a lot of trouble. Banshees, shuriken, and everything else in their retreat path. Also, that Commando Knob getting dangerously low despite being in that garrison. Got to take a lot of fire right there. It will eventually whittle you down. Taking some point-blank fire from that shuriken, but managing to get out with just 50 HP. He actually struggled a little bit trying to get past the setup team members there, but managed to get out of there. In the meantime, you can see one of the Ludas over here just kind of casually watching the point. I'm surprised he's not cloaked, actually, because it would be much more advantageous to wait for this decap to go down a little bit, wait for Kaldoot to look away, and then uncloak your Ludas in a quick ambush at that close range. Those Ludas would shred either of these Eldar infantry squads, so Tex deciding to leave it open. Of course, it won't fire when it's hidden, so... And there we go. See, Kaldoot just drops it right back there. Quick reaction time saves any Banshees from going down, and Kaldoot's heading into tier 2. And man, speaking of stuff we don't often see in solo games, we've got some stick bombers coming onto the field from Texaneous, and that's really going to put the pressure on those two shuriken squads. That's really the key thing keeping Kaldoot from having to completely fall back on the map here, is those two shuriken weapon teams. Of course, reckless in this ability, the reckless ability in this mod, granted by the Slugga Boy knob, does not anymore break suppression and resist it. Now it's just a damage decrease and a speed increase, so you really can't just charge at a suppression team anymore to take it out. You have to try a little harder to deal with those kind of threats. Warlock finding himself in a lot of trouble as burners get upgraded on the Slugga Boys. One knob on the field, and a second one on the way from Texaneous. Stick bombers hanging out, cloaked actually, trying to get a good position, I guess, on these shuriken weapon teams. And, oh man, this might go right down on top of both squads. Oh, what a perfect stick bomber barrage. Holy heck. Almost took out two full shuriken teams. I mean, he couldn't have planned that any better. It wasn't even entirely planning. Kaldoot just happened to be moving that shuriken over the other shuriken, and those stick bombers just completely made themselves worthwhile. Almost gained a full level, as you can see there, off of that one stick bomber barrage. And it's looking rough for Kaldoot. He luckily managed to save that one squad. And look at the Commando knob, actually, with the improved camouflage upgrade. Really going to make Kaldoot regret not getting some rangers to help spot the orcs on the field that might be sneaking around. Commando knob just hanging out right here, waiting for something to get into. Sticks going down once again, not quite hitting their target, getting a little bit of a big spread right there, throwing uphill. Warlock trying to drop a Destructor, but it didn't really do much over here. And a perfect use of the Commando Knob. Commando Knob engaging those Wraith Guards, keeping them from doing anything. Oh no, Stick's going to go down on the Commando. Stuns a couple Wraith Guards though, and the Sluggas are moving in for the kill. A nasty melee affray here right in front of Kaldoot's own base. Sluggas pushing in a bit too far. Another pile of Sticks going down. You can see not doing too much, of course, because of that base reduction aura right there. Keeping most of the damage from going down on the cheesy Stick Bomb throw. One of the Ludas that just went down at some point on the map over here. I'm not sure where that happened. Wasn't quite paying attention to what was going on there. But Tex is down one of his two Luda squads. 154 to 495 so far. Kaldoot in a lot of trouble. Needs to do something to get on the map pretty much in the next push or two. These Wraith Guards could be the key if they can make any kind of difference here, supported with that Shuriken weapons team. But Kaldoot really needs to do something to be able to spot any of the sneaking squads, because all Tex needs to do is get that Commando Knob or hide the boys squad of Sluggas onto the field and engage either of these two squads, really, and that's pretty much going to be it for Kaldoot. He's going to have to fall back as soon as one of these two range squads gets engaged or pushed back. Painboy now on the field, getting some upgrades as soon as he pops out. Painboy got kind of a lukewarm reception originally. A lot of Orc players still not quite sure where to fit him into their build order. Tex bringing him out in Tier 2, getting him some upgrades right out of the gate here so he can really cause some damage. Surprised those Ludas didn't upgrade. Oh, he's going to stun and then unleash. Oh, but instead choosing to go for the Banshees, just buying some time for those Sluggas to get in there. Shuriken needs to turn and retarget right now. And perfect timing. There goes the Wraith Guard shots, but it's not going to be enough to deal with all those Sluggas. Painboy gets a heal in there on the damaged Sluggaboy squad. Banshee's in there now, going to be tearing it up, but it's still two squads of Sluggas and a Painboy actually doing some pretty nice damage. Oh, but an Ethereal Slash goes in and obliterates tons of Orc little Sluggaboys there. A couple knobs left, aided by some Sluggas, and that's about it. All these Sluggas squads getting very low, by the way. Tex, I think, sent actually that third one out without reinforcing. Actually, I think I know what's going to happen here, as in the mod, Call to Boys no longer gives you a constant reinforce for several seconds. When you activate Call to Boys now, it gives you one lone reinforce, and that's it. So you have to use it a lot more strategically now. And I'm pretty sure what's going to happen here is these Sluggas are all going to gather up and be nice and full again here in a moment. Unfortunately, Tex gets caught out of position by a suppression team trying to push the Kaldoot base here, or the power farm rather, not the base, and has to fall back. Kaldoot still looking pretty rough, not able to get out here. 104 to 495, only managed to tick a measly 5 victory points off of Tex so far, and a Weird Boy coming onto the field as well. Tex investing pretty heavily in Tier 2 here, which is fairly uncommon, I feel. Most Orcs players tend to get maybe a knob or two and a truck, and then roll ahead on into Tier 3 so they can get those knobs out. Orc players do love their knobs, and rightfully so. Nothing wrong with bringing some knobs onto the field. Lots of Orcs coming out, and yeah, you can see Tex is choosing not to reinforce these Sluggaboys. Call to Boys is going to be happening here soon. I'm not sure when, but it's going to happen. Kaldoot's sitting on quite a bit of resource. Oh, and as I say that, he does get himself a Wraith Lord. So it's going to be reasonable. Of course, there's enough heavy melee, and Tex can probably go into Tier 3 here soon, so the Commando Knob can get himself his rocket launcher, which is so nasty against vehicles. Man, Sluggas just tearing it up over here. In the meantime, Banshee's battling out with Stick Bombers. Those Stick Bombers need to get out of there. Hopefully Tex is paying attention to both sides of the map. And look at that Call to Boys, bringing a bunch of Sluggas in right behind the Guardians and the Shuriken weapons team. Warlock goes down once again. That's the second time he goes down right there. Oh, and the Stick Bombers go down. Tex looks like he got the retreat there before the Banshees finished them off, but the Banshees decided to finish those on retreat. Hunted them down and stabbed them to the ground. Got a couple quick shots with the pistols there on the way out. Tex moving into the retreat path of the Banshees right now. He knows they're over here. He's going to engage on one side and have Sluggas waiting on the other. Oh, this does not look good for the Banshees. Tex is in a perfect position. Kaldoot doesn't even know what kind of trouble he's in. He really needs to be planning his escape routes right now. Banshees might actually be able to finish off that Commando Knob. Commando Knob getting a little cocky trying to scare those Banshees off. Another couple swings and he's going to go down, but the Banshees think better of it. Luda's on the field over here, changing to the Beamy Death Gun upon seeing that Wraith Lord. Weird Boy almost going down to the Wraith Lord. I think Tex was watching his commando knob and almost lost that Weird Boy. That would have been a huge loss for him. And unfortunately for the Luda boys, they were in no position to deal with that Wraith Lord as it came barreling down the center of the map there. So Kaldoot's still hanging in here. Managed to take out one of Tex's squads, and with the Warlock with that Witchblade of Kronos and the Ethereal Slash, gonna be a much bigger threat to that Slugga blob now. We already saw one go off to great effect, sending Orc Bits flying, and now the Wraith Lord's just kind of patrolling the map, keeping Sluggas from taking the map as they please.
We will stand against any enemy.
So Tex kind of roaming around, just taking some map, biding his time. He doesn't need to rush here at all. He can really pick and choose his engagements for quite some time. I mean, Kaldoot's down to 65 points to his 446. Slugga boys moving in to hit these Guardians. Hopefully they're going to see that Shuriken Cannon before they engage, because if they don't, they're in trouble. And that's exactly what Kaldoot wanted, falling back to the safety of the Shuriken Cannon. A stun bomb coming in, though. There's still a Guardian Grenade on the field. He can drop that grenade as soon as it comes in. Oh no, friendly fire right there. Perfect grenade right on top of those Orky Bits flying. Wraith Lord deciding to engage that Weird Boy once again. War Spiders coming onto the field. Warlock and Wraith Lord now moving in on the commando knob. Beamy Death Gun and Weird Boy trying to do some damage to that Wraith Lord and doing a good job of it. That Beamy Death Gun does something like 250 HP a shot on vehicles. I think that's the number Tex mentioned to me the other day. And now some more ranged on the field. War Spider's going to be good for holding map, and that's really what Kaldoot needs to do. He can kind of just fall back and kite all these Slugga boys around, but look at Tex sneaking these Slugga boys back here. Wraithguard looking for trouble, or Wraith Lord rather, looking for trouble. Wraithguard are down, unfortunately, and in the meantime, Sluggas and a Pain Boy moving up behind Kaldoot's lines. Shuriken in a lot of trouble. Guardians as well. Guardians need to get out of there. Banshees need to help them out. One or the other. Guardians might not be getting out of there. Sluggas kind of tripping over each other and getting in their own way. Here comes the speed boost. Orcs, Wog, and Reckless trying to finish out that Guardian. 12 HP. He's going to get back to base. The Flamers weren't enough to finish it off. Kaldoot still not with a full power farm. Another Ethereal Slash going off, picking off one Slugga boy there, and those Guardians managed to stay up, and really that's great for Kaldoot. If those Guardians had gone down, he would have needed to purchase another squad because he needs something to keep this Wraith Lord on the field. Banshee's in the retreat path, oddly not taking any swings. I think he realized just a moment too late that he was able to take out a few of those Slugga boy squads. Oh, Banshee sits still just at the wrong moment as the Weird Boy sends a big glowing projectile of Psyker power right into the middle of him. Wraith Lord Walker hanging back, gonna get a fix-up job from the Guardians, and Ludatank coming out ready shortly here to scare off that Wraith Lord and deal with it once and for all. Banshee's getting pretty low here, but they've got the support of Warp Spiders and the Wraith Lord. Unfortunately, that's not enough, and oh man! Just barely escaping with 8 HP. Oh my goodness. Wraith Lord getting a nice sync kill there on a lone Slugga boy on the way out. Always like that Wraith Lord sync kill. He kind of looks curiously at the Orc or whatever he picks up. Kind of like he's never seen one before and just wants to check it out. The big kid accidentally broke one of his toys. Weird Boy capping some points middle, got the Warp Path ability, and at least one other because he's got quite a bit of HP there. Might have all three of his upgrades, not quite sure. But he's in a lot of trouble. He needs to get back. 65 to 371. Kaldoot slowly bringing it back here. Ludatank on the field, however, and that's going to be a big problem. Of course, Tex will have to be careful with it. There are Warp Spiders on the field, and if that tank takes a haywire at the wrong time, Banshees and the Wraith Lord are going to clean it up no problem. But Tex still with all three of his Slugga boy squads, all level 2, and looking pretty solid all around. Still with a massive VP advantage. Kaldoot's got a 2 cap against him. But is that going to be enough to hold out? There's still time for him to hold this. Eldar can really bring some hurt late game, but Tex just doing a great job. Constantly, if you notice how he's been playing with these Slugger boys, sending them to the corner of the mini-map, and then bringing it back around and just constantly getting the good flanks in. Has plenty of patience. He's got the map control, so he has all the time to do that he needs. Boom shot going off on that Shuriken weapons team, but there's a second one on the field. Tex wasn't ready for the second one. He didn't think that there was going to be another late game Shuriken on the field. Using over there to get some boys in on it though, and unsets it up. The first Shuriken's in a lot of trouble. One of the Slugger Boy squads is as well though, and a nice knockback. That could be it for that lone squad. Wraith Lord still trying to take it out, but instead grabs another one. Banshee's doing something back here. Taking some fire from that tank, but a Haywire has gone down. Those Banshees need to get out of there though. Gonna get stunned by the Wart Vomit. Weird Boy defending the tank perfectly. Those Banshees are too low to deal with that tank. It's going to need to make some distance between itself and the Wraith Lord, though, because that Wraith Lord is going to be a big problem for it. Banshees getting the Disruption field, though, and going to fall back. That Distort field will protect them on retreat. It doesn't heal anymore, but it does reduce pretty much all of the damage, except from the tank shot, which does finish them off. That lone Banshee with her twin swords fall right in front of her own base. War Spider's trying to mess up the pathing of that tank, and of course the leader does have power blades. But man, Kaldoot's just investing everything in taking this tank out, and it might not be worth it at this point. Bringing the Banshees right back onto the field. I'm not sure if he even needs those at this point, but we'll have to see how this goes. Tex does have his Slugger boys out here, 2 level 3, 1 level 2. So level 1 Banshee is gonna not necessarily be the greatest thing right here. Of course, they can be a constant threat to the Weird Boy. Pain Boy also out. Let's see. Does have his Cyborg implant equipment, and how that works now is you have 3 options. You have stronger, harder, and faster boys. So you can either upgrade their attack, their HP, or their speed permanently. And you can only do that once, but whichever squad you use that on, that's a permanently upgraded squad, and a lot of people won't take that into consideration. I don't think there's any kind of squad decorator now that we can tell where he decided to use that. We'll have to see. Maybe Keltos is working on getting that in. But I believe the Pain Boy is completely upgraded, almost tier 2. As he levels up, so will his heal ability, so that works out. It's good to get him out early if you can. And now we've got a bit of a standoff here. No Guardian Shields going up, because what's the point? No real ranged firepower onto the field. Could try to mitigate some of that tank fire. But really what he needs to deal with is the Weird Boys and these Sluggas. Warpath getting activated here. Sluggas barreling around. Kaldoot may have seen it as the Brightlands did take a quick shot. And yes, he did. Tank moving in. Everything's coming in here. Needs a nice special attack with that Wraith Lord to keep the Sluggas back, but it's not going to happen. Sluggas getting healed up. Tank moving in, and an excellent surge here from all these orcs. Another over there being used. Weird Boy really putting himself to perfect use right here. Rocket launcher on the field for the commando knob, but that tank's in a lot of trouble. Misses the stun bob on the Banshees. They dodged it, and that tank's going to be going down unless he can do something about it, and I don't think he can. Distort field going on the Banshees. They've already paid for themselves. A nice looking ethereal slash there, taking out a Slugger squad with the help of that Banshees in the retreat path, and what a great engagement for Kaldoot. Kaldoot really has a chance now. Man, Tex down a lot. Lost himself a Slugger squad. Lost himself lots of Sluggas. Lost his looted tank. And just didn't take anything out. Very few model losses there for Kaldoot. Banshees did a perfect job cleaning up. And just perfect play there. Kaldoot was hanging over on this side with his Banshees and his War Spiders and came in as Tex pushed his surge forward up to the north. And just a nice flank by Kaldoot. Well played. Battle Wagon coming onto the field, though, and I'm not sure if Kaldoot's going to be able to deal with that. He does have 1 Bright Lance on the team. Or, sorry, on the field. He does have the Haywire Grenade, which can certainly disable that Battle Wagon. And in the meantime, he realizes that Warlock's not going to be able to do anything against the 2 knockdown abilities between that sniper shot rocket launcher that the Commander Knob has, and of course, the Weird Boy. Tex looking a lot rougher here. No looters on the field. Down to 2 Sluggas and a Pain Boy. Weed Boy's out here as well, but with a Battle Wagon coming in, it may not matter for Kaldoot. Kaldoot's going to need to play very carefully and try to minimize any kind of impact that that Battle Wagon has on the field. He can probably upgrade the second Guardian Weapons team to a Bright Lance and really limit what Tex can do with that Battle Wagon. But of course, there are still 2 squads of Sluggas on the field, and that's not looking good for Eldar setup teams ever. You can see Kaldoot drawing some time in here, trying to buy some time. Banshee's getting knocked around though, and that knockdown was just enough time to keep those Banshees from engaging that Weird Boy. And of course, these War Spiders need to get the heck out of there. They're very low. They do have full mana. They're going to go ahead and fall back. They're going to need to retreat though if he doesn't want to lose any expensive War Spiders. Heal going down on the Slugger Boys, and you can see there's a persistent heal that lasts. A lot of people feel like that the Pain Boy doesn't have a good heal, but if you can see that as long as those green hexes hang out on those orcs, they're constantly getting healed. Massive HP regeneration while that's going on. Battle Wagon slowly pushing up here, spots the Bright Lance, decides to fall back. Let's see, this one is not upgrading, deciding to keep at least one suppression team on the field. Probably a good idea with 2 Sluggas out there right now. And man, look, the Commando Knob rocket launcher does pretty reasonable damage, even to infantry, especially once he's got a few levels on him. Not excellent damage, but it certainly helps. And we can see the Battle Wagon way behind everything, and it looks like it's full of orcs too, so he's gonna push Kaldoot back pretty easily here, just moving that Death Roller around, crushing Eldar all over the place. You can see some Eldar bits kind of hanging out there on the field as the Death Roller comes back around. Bright Lance is trying to do some damage. Tex is deciding to keep his orcs in the truck for now, and there comes the unload. 2 Sluggas squads and the Pain Boy all hanging out as the Battle Wagon takes a haywire. Gonna try to keep that Battle Wagon up. Tex manages to take out one of the Bright Lances. Looks like he's gonna get the second. The Battle Wagon may go down to this Wraith Lord though. He has to figure out whether he wants to engage the Wraith Lord or try to repair the Battle Wagon. Providence, however, activated on the Warlock. You can see Providence, Warp Throw, Ethereal Slash getting activated there, making him invulnerable and able to cast infinitely with no cooldowns or mana costs. Completely scared off all those Slugger Boys, obliterating orcs left and right. That Warlock must have quite a kill count at this point in the game. Wraith Lord finally falling back. Tex narrowly getting the Battle Wagon out of here. It's going to need some serious repairs before it gets back out there. Guardian Weapon team coming onto the field. And, oh, actually, it looks like one of the Bright Lances did survive. I thought both went down. Banshee's going to start trying to take some points. 65 to 79. Kaldoot's really brought it back here. It's still anyone's game. You can see Commando Knob actually upgraded with the Assassin's Knife. Going to start stabbing away at that Bright Lance. Get it off the field as soon as he can. Little friendly fire from the Weird Boy. Weird Boy's falling back though. Banshee's taking a lot of damage, however. I'm not sure if Kaldoot's paying attention to this Battle Wagon over here. It's wounded, but it is certainly not going to be afraid of Banshees. Unfortunately for Tex, he loses his Commando Knob, and that's not going to be good right here. A looted tank is on the field though. Kaldoot has plenty of anti-vehicle. 2-0 cap against Tex. Battle Wagon moving in, trying to get the kill on those Banshees. Mushes one with the Death Roller. And will he be able to get the second? It's retreating. Oh my goodness. It's such a race, but the Banshee's going to escape. And that will be a saving grace for Kaldoot indeed. It's been quite a gambit for Tex to go with this melee build and stick with it this long, but it might just pay off. He kind of lost it all, and that's kind of what I was talking about when I mentioned earlier. You have to play so carefully. You can play melee so well, but still make just 1 or 2 mistakes, and it costs you a squad or 2 in the late game. And it's really just so much just critical judgment throughout the entire game. Unfortunately for Kaldoot, he didn't get the cap on that. 65 to 21. Weird Boy and Tank and Orc Battle Wagon all putting the pressure onto middle right now. And the tank's going to push. Tex is going to start moving in here, pushing that Wraith Lord back, using the Weird Boy to hit the infantry, using the tank to hit the vehicles, but a nice looking shot there from the tank. Will that Guardian team go down? It will not. Banshee's taking a nice shot there, and another knockback One of them gets obliterated. A second knockback there from the Weird Boy. Tex really playing the knockback game here, keeping the Banshees on their back so they can't do anything. In the meantime, Weird Boy capping in the middle of all of this. But that looted tank's really beat up. So is the Battle Wagon. Tex really doesn't have much to bring out on the field without risk of losing it. Banshees doing some serious damage to that Weird Boy, but not going to be able to finish it off. Sluggas and Painboy still hanging out with the Battle Wagon, repairing wherever they can and then falling back. 53 to 21. A decap going down on the middle here for Kaldoot. Tex still has plenty of resource in the bank. Kaldoot does as well. He should probably bring something out as soon as he can because it's all going to come down to the map control here. I'm not sure if saving up for an avatar at this point in the game is going to be too beneficial. Providence going off, trying to keep that Battle Wagon from doing anything. Gonna try to get the decap here on the bottom side, but the Banshees are going down while he's not paying attention to the tank. Unfortunately, the tank goes down to the Bright Lance. Kaldoot taking out the tank could be what seals this. 14 points left. Tex is trying to get a decap over here, but it looks like Kaldoot's gonna get his on that side of the map anyways, and that might be all she wrote. I don't think Tex can bring it back here, and that's going to be the game for Kaldoot. Tex unloading, taking out one last Eldar weapons team, but it just isn't going to matter because Kaldoot still has his natural VP. And what a comeback by Kaldoot. Some serious nasty play from those Tex Slugger boys, but Kaldoot winning a couple key engagements there at the end, really playing it perfectly, and Tex investing a little too much in a few engagements there. Struggling for the VPs towards the end. You tend to get a little desperate, and you can't be desperate when you have the melee going on. Anyways, excellent play either way. Both players doing a great job. Weird Boy did some awesome stuff. Painboy did some awesome stuff. Don't get to see him on the field very much. Doing a good job. Look at all these Sluggas. Look at that just orky pile right there, running away from the victorious Eldar army. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. This was, of course, Kaldoot's Elite mod. I urge you to check it out if you haven't. If you're a fan of Dawn of War, or Warhammer at all, really, you've got to check it out. Some great changes. He's got Grey Knights in there, and, of course, so many new units and just balance changes and abilities in general. Lots of fun. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. This is Red-Rupee. I'll be catching you guys next time.